What does your crazy neighbor do to be labeled the crazy neighbor? Had severe anger issues and yelled at anything or anyone he didn't like on the street. A few years ago, he had a road rage incident, and when he started banging on the other car's windows, the occupants got out and beat him badly. During this, he had a heart attack and now barely has enough mobility to walk to the mailbox and back. Also, he doesn't yell anymore. If you are not ready for face punches, you are not ready to punch faces. Sometimes there is really no other way. These people usually won't stop until something drastic happens to them. Granddad had super bad anger issues like this. Caused him to have 2 heart attacks back to back. He's one of the calmest and quietest people I know now. Sounds like the problem fixed itself. My sister's neighbor reported my sister to the police because her kids were playing in my sister's garden. Not for the usual reasons, too much noise, etc. Nope, because a volcano in Italy had erupted and the radiation would hurt them. My sister lives in the UK. I would have loved to see the police's face when they heard the reason. In the 90s, my older sister was in college and doing some kind of semester abroad program in Italy that happened to have her staying with this crazy old rich British lady. Before she left that summer to go to England, the lady took out of her pocket this crumpled up newspaper article she had obviously cut out herself about people dying mysteriously of eating beef in England, and implored her not to have any hamburger while she was there. My sister naturally thought she was just being crazy, but for some reason got this feeling when she actually had a chance to have a burger in London and turned it down. That was the summer of '94. The woman may have saved her from mad cow disease. He jumped in front of my car while I was driving down the road to yell at me for going through his trash at night. I told him it was probably raccoons. He refuses to believe it to this day. How do we know you aren't a raccoon? A quick look at your name tells me you got it from the trash. How do you explain that, This is my favorite one. Instead of moving his trash or getting locking lids, he stalks your car at night to throw his body in front of it to protest your suspected raccoon-like activities. All the while, the trash pandas are in the background having a freaking field day with his trash. Ah, yeah, my old downstairs neighbor did that. Blocked my car to tell me that she was reporting me to the police for injuring her dog. Apparently, we were so loud the night before that her dog jumped off the bed and injured its eye and was now blind. The funny part is that we weren't home the night before. We stayed at my brother's house. She also used to follow me around with a camera yelling crap at me about the dog situation and posted letters in the public areas outing me as a gay and calling me a sinner. I'm straight and lived with my girlfriend who she'd met. Not sure how she came to that conclusion. She was a character. They kicked her out of the complex shortly after. You should dress up like a raccoon, raid his trash, and say, "See, I told you." She has a penchant for going around sticking nails in people's tires at night. This has happened dozens of times to nearly everyone on the street, though she's slowed down since more people started installing video cams and motion sensor lights in their driveways. Years ago, We had a guy in our neighborhood like this. He stopped hitting our house when my crazy ass mother came flying out of the house around 3 a.m. with her baseball bat. We used to have someone that would do this in my old neighborhood. We still don't know who did it, but one night someone camped out and waited for him to do it again and pummeled him and left him bleeding in the street. Cue the ambulance and cop cars on the street at 3 a.m. on a Friday. I once totally randomly caught my neighbors on camera at 1 a.m. dumping trash into and onto my bins, which were already on the curb for morning pickup. I wouldn't mind a little trash if there's space in my bins, but they put about twice as much as can fit, overflowing the bins and mixing the recycling and compost with their trash. I promptly returned it, neatly piled on their porch with a note written on a bill with their name and address on it, coding the county ordinance on dumping. The volume was enough for a $5,000 fine, and that they were on camera. A couple of days later, they left an envelope saying, "Sorry, neighbor," with tickets for a free concert in a sketchy venue with a printed invitation that screamed MLM recruiting event. I wonder if they even understand that what they did is not an apology. I haven't crossed paths or words with them again. Our neighbor pulled us over pretending to be a police officer, saying that we had somehow broken the law while pulling out of our driveway, and that she was going to call it in. She isn't a cop. Pretty sure that's a crime. That's so illegal. You should definitely tell the police. Impersonating a police officer often is a precursor to much more serious crimes. That's impersonation of an officer. That's a fine and jail time. I'm going to call it in. Go right ahead. I'll wait. There used to be a guy in our neighborhood who would sit on his porch with a hairdryer pretending to clock people speeding. If he thought they seemed fast, he would gesture wildly to the hairdryer and shout at them. My neighbor sits in his yard, hides behind his plant, and meows at people who pass by. He isn't dangerous at all, but he isn't right in the head either. His caretakers are his parents, and they seem to be very nice people. His dad once told me he just likes to be a cat, and left it at that. I didn't ask any more questions. I would also like to be a cat, so I see no issue with this. Everybody wants to be a cat. It sounds like your neighbors just have a cat that you're hallucinating is a human. This just seems wholesome to me. If you're to have a neighbor with a mental illness or limitation, being a cat is probably the best outcome you can ask for. For a quick buck, try selling him catnip at night in a dark alley. I like that this is the most harmless comment so far. There's a girl in our neighborhood who thinks she's a horse. I think she's 13 or 14. She isn't hurting anyone, and anytime my kids interact with her, she's very friendly and invites others to play horses too. Now, this is a story I can relate to. I have a crazy neighbor. Sometimes it's a headache dealing with her because I hate confrontation. Whenever it's Christmas time, though, we make sure to give her a gift of freshly baked pastries. Because you know she might curse us. If you have some crazy neighbor stories, please share it down below. And I'll see you soon. Bye!